So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution. Today we're going to be answering a bunch of questions on Ask HR, including one from Maine about applying through LinkedIn, another one from Pennsylvania about passing background checks, and the last one from Alabama with a quick question from the pros. Let's get into it. Let's get started out of Maine. And it says, I applied to a job through LinkedIn and had a seemingly successful interview. I was then asked to submit my application to the company website. Why? And the reason why is you didn't really apply for the job through LinkedIn. I mean, not in any traditional sense. LinkedIn is a good way of gathering information for people, but ultimately it's not the company's application tool. The company's application tool or application tracking system is through its website. Right. And so you have this opportunity then to actually formally apply. This actually happens fairly regularly with respect to recruiters as well. What will happen is that the recruiter will need the person to formally apply for a specific job, all because they've only applied to the recruiter's website or whatever. This is pretty common. I It means that the company is interested in you and wants to move forward. And it also prevents them from sort of clogging up their applicants. So LinkedIn has like an easy apply. And I think that is, it's an easy way to get a whole lot of applicants, but it's not an easy way to sort of filter through them, I think. And as a result, it becomes much more difficult, and the human resources professional needs you to apply. And now you're officially in their system, counting against their EEOC metrics and everything else. And in addition, they like you, which is great. The next one up is interesting, and it's from Pennsylvania. It says, passing background checks. What convictions generally stop employers from hiring people, and what convictions are generally acceptable? I mean, this is such a broad question that it's given many times, but it's not it's not an effective question. One, it depends on what the employer is. So for example, for banks, they are very strict. Even if you have a theft that's a pretty small number, you're going to, even when you have one, you're still going to have to probably be rejected if you're a bank for someone who has a theft. If you're a government security job, maybe any conviction. Generally speaking, felonies that are we're talking for the entire United States, generally speaking, felonies that are 7 years old or more will be accepted unless they are crimes against children or violent crimes. And even then, it's potential that the company may hire you. And then misdemeanors, it's again mostly around violent crimes and theft. I think that if you had, for example, a minor crime that was a misdemeanor crime that was less than that was drugs or something like that, you would probably be just fine. It's really about theft and violence, but I'm probably forgetting some crime in there that that people will be screaming at me in the comments. But ultimately, those are the ones that people are looking for. Specifically, misdemeanors are probably fine, depending on the business and the nature of the job. Felonies older than 7 are generally fine, depending on the nature and the nature and the nature of the crime, nature of the work and the nature of the crime. And this one's from Alabama. It just cracks me up, but it says, how is it supposed to be fair to people who have a 90-day probation? Let's be clear here. There are only 3 kinds of fair: county, state, and world. There's no other. So don't. I mean, it's not supposed to be fair. But if they have one problem that leads them to having to be out for more than a couple days, they get fired and can't get back on there. Well, there's a reason why probation is generally zero tolerance or low tolerance. It's because people who show their ass early on are the same people who are terrible later on. It's almost unique. I mean, I know that it's possible for people to decline or improve over time, but as someone who has seen a lot of people go through a lot of probations, you can usually see the bad ones early on. Like one place, I had a mechanical problems a few years back and I had nobody to drive me to work. I was 2 months in, and they fired me and wouldn't let me work there again because of the probation. Same thing happened to my friend last year, but luckily he had an excuse. I would say that if he had an excuse, you did too. So they probably weren't too pleased with you overall. But still, not once have I ever heard of anyone being able to come back if they had to miss during their probation period. That's because literally when people miss, generally speaking, it's even if they have a good reason, they're for whatever reason they're more likely to miss just for the fun of it in the future. Had a few coworkers do that back in the day at a very high turnover rate job. Still didn't let a couple of them back before, which kind of means that they did. At least some of them came back because of it. We get the worst questions. All right, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys.